Neighbor calls cops on black kid. Then his mom arrives, and she's the police chief in Scarsdale. Even the silence feels expensive. The streets curve gently around manicured lawns that look as if they've never known drought or neglect. Tall oaks stretch over sidewalks so clean they almost shine. Colonial houses stand in perfect symmetry, white trim, black shutters, brass knockers polished to a mirror finish. Everything suggests stability, safety, belonging. And yet beneath that polished quiet is something less visible, an invisible map of who fits, who owns, who is recognized without question, and who is not. 7-year-old Mia Miller pedals down Bradford Lane with the easy rhythm of a child who has not yet learned to doubt the world. Her braids bounce beneath her pink helmet. A small purple backpack rests between her shoulder blades, slightly crooked because she never quite gets the straps even. Inside the backpack, wrapped in tissue paper, is her greatest treasure, a magnifying glass. Her teacher gave it to her 3 weeks ago after Mia stayed after school to show her a collection of pebbles she'd found near the playground. "You see details other people miss," her teacher had told her. "That's what scientists do." Since then, Mia has seen herself as something between a detective and an explorer. She slows her bike near a long driveway, lined with trimmed hedges shaped into neat squares. At the end of it stands a cluster of polished black mailboxes mounted on a wooden post. The sun hits something near the base of the post, a flicker of light, barely noticeable unless you're looking for it. Mia is always looking. She brakes carefully. The tires whisper against pavement. She props the bike against the curb and crouches down. There it is, a small stone, no bigger than a quarter, but with veins of silver running through its dark surface. It catches the sunlight like a secret trying to be discovered. Mia gasps softly. She unzips her backpack, pulls out the magnifying glass, and holds it over the stone. The world sharpens. The silver lines become rivers. Tiny crystals glitter like distant stars. In her mind, this isn't just a rock. It's a meteor fragment, or pirate treasure, or something ancient and important that only she noticed. She smiles. Behind a second-floor window across the lawn, Linda Anderson watches. At first, she barely registers the child. Just movement, a bicycle, a small figure where there shouldn't be one. Her coffee mug pauses midway to her lips. She leans slightly closer to the glass. The child is kneeling by the mailboxes. Linda's eyes narrow. What is she doing? She doesn't recognize the girl. That alone feels like information. In a neighborhood like this, unfamiliarity can quickly become suspicion. Mia adjusts the magnifying glass and shifts closer to the mailbox post. Linda's thoughts begin to move faster now, connecting dots that may not belong together. Why is she touching that area? Is she alone? Does she live here? The girl's backpack looks worn. Not designer, not new. Linda sets her mug down. She tells herself she's being responsible, vigilant. The Homeowners Association has been discussing increased awareness for months. Packages had gone missing last winter. There were rumors about kids from outside the district wandering through during the summer. Linda reaches for her phone. Down on the curb, Mia gently lifts the stone, brushing dirt from it with the corner of her sleeve. She grins at her reflection in the magnifying lens. A door opens sharply. Mia startles. Linda steps out onto the driveway, phone already raised, camera recording. "Hey!" Linda calls out, her tone sharp enough to slice through the still air. "What are you doing?" Mia blinks, confused. I found something." "Found what?" Linda walks faster now, heels clicking against concrete. "Why are you touching the mailboxes?" "I wasn't," Mia says quickly. It was shiny." Linda stops a few feet away, angling her phone for a clearer shot. "Do you live here?" Mia nods instinctively. "Yes." "Where?" Mia opens her mouth, but the question feels bigger than it should. Her house number floats in her mind, suddenly slippery. 47. No, 74. I mean, Linda's expression hardens. So you don't even know your own address? I do, Mia insists, her voice shrinking. It's just, I forgot. Linda steps closer and points at the mailboxes. Were you opening these? No. You were kneeling right there. I was looking at a rock. A rock, Linda repeats flatly. Mia holds up the small stone with trembling fingers. It's special. Linda doesn't even glance at it. Instead, she reaches out and snatches it from Mia's hand. Mia gasps. Give that back, she whispers. Linda ignores her. You cannot just come into this neighborhood and mess with people's property. I live here, Mia says again, but the words don't sound as strong this time. Who are your parents? Linda demands. My mom. And where is she? She's at work. Doing what? Mia hesitates. The pause is enough. Linda exhales sharply, shaking her head. This is unbelievable. Mia instinctively steps backward, her heel catching on the edge of her bicycle tire. The bike tips. She loses her balance and falls hard onto the pavement. The magnifying glass slips from her grip. It hits the ground with a brittle crack. The lens shatters. For a moment, the world goes silent. Mia stares at the broken glass, as if something inside her has fractured with it. Her breathing becomes shallow. Her chest tightens. That was a gift, she whispers. Linda takes 2 steps back, as though the crying child is somehow the aggressor now. She turns away and dials 911. Yes, I need police assistance, she says, voice suddenly calm and measured. There's a little girl here tampering with mailboxes. She's been acting erratically. I don't think she belongs in this neighborhood. She pauses. Yes, she appears to be African American. Mia curls inward on the pavement, knees pulled close. The shiny stone lies forgotten near the curb. The broken magnifying glass catches the sunlight one last time. She may have damaged property, Linda continues. I'm concerned for the safety of residents. Across the street, curtains shift. A door opens halfway. Mrs. Collins peers out, frowning. Mr. Taylor steps onto his porch. What's going on? Mrs. Collins calls. Linda waves dismissively while continuing her report. Mia's sobs grow louder. I want my mom, she whispers at first, then louder. I want my mom. The distant wail of sirens interrupts the stillness. They're closer than expected. 1 car, then 2, then 3. Patrol vehicles turn onto Bradford Lane in quick succession, lights flashing blue and red against the pristine white facades of the houses. Doors open. Officers step out cautiously, hands near their belts, scanning the scene. They see a woman pointing. They see a child on the ground. They see tension. Within seconds, they form a loose perimeter around Mia. She looks impossibly small. Her braids fall forward as she keeps her head down. Tears streak across her cheeks. I want my mom, she repeats, rocking slightly. One officer kneels, trying to assess. Another speaks quietly into his radio. Linda continues filming. The flashing lights reflect off the polished mailboxes, off the broken lens, off the windows of million-dollar homes. In one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in America, a 7-year-old girl sits on hot pavement, surrounded. And as one officer glances at the notepad in his hand, reading the name given over dispatch, Miller, he pauses. His eyes shift from the paper to the crying child, and something in the air begins to change. Inside the Westchester County 911 Communications Center, the world runs on voices. Rows of monitors glow beneath low fluorescent lights. Headsets crackle. Keyboards tap in controlled rhythm. Every call is coded, logged, categorized. Every hesitation is noted. Every adjective matters. Veteran dispatcher Angela Ruiz has worked this room for 18 years. She can hear the difference between fear and performance, between panic and projection, between urgency and exaggeration. When the call from Bradford Lane comes through, she straightens slightly in her chair. 911. What's your emergency? The caller speaks quickly but clearly, controlled, articulate. There's a little girl tampering with mailboxes in my neighborhood. She's acting erratically. I believe she may be attempting to damage property. Angela types as she listens. Location: Bradford Lane, Scarsdale. Angela's fingers pause above the keyboard. She knows that address. Not the exact house number yet, but Bradford Lane is familiar. She pulls up the system map and zooms in. When the caller gives the full address, Angela's stomach tightens. That property is registered to Chief Rebecca Miller. Angela keeps her tone neutral. Ma'am, can you describe the individual? She appears to be African American, the caller says. I don't recognize her. She doesn't belong here. Doesn't belong. Angela notes the phrasing. She scrolls through the database again. The residence at that address is, in fact, home to the city's chief of police, and the chief has one child. Female, 7 years old. Angela glances at the live patrol map. Units are already en route. The caller used the word tampering, the phrase acting erratically. That's enough to trigger a priority response in a high-value residential area. Ma'am, Angela says calmly, has the child made any threats? No, but she's lying about where she lives. She's touching private property. Angela listens to the background noise. No shouting, no crashing, just distant crying. Crying. Angela mutes her headset for half a second and exhales. Then she quietly opens an internal messaging window. Possible address conflict. Confirm occupant identity. She considers calling the chief directly. But protocol matters. Lines must be respected. Hierarchies followed. Still, something feels off. She quickly pulls up Chief Miller's contact file and sends a discreet alert notification to her department-issued phone. No response. Back outside on Bradford Lane, red and blue lights ripple against manicured hedges. 3 patrol vehicles sit angled along the curb. Officer Daniel Harper stands slightly behind his partner, scanning the scene. His body camera light blinks steadily. A small girl sits on the pavement, crying. A white woman stands nearby, holding her phone up as if documenting a crime scene. Harper crouches slowly, careful not to loom. Hey there, he says gently. What's your name? The girl sniffles. Mia. Mia what? She hesitates, swallowing air between sobs. Mia Miller. Harper freezes for half a second. Miller. He keeps his expression neutral, but something clicks in his mind. He stands and steps a few feet away, pressing his radio button low against his vest. Dispatch, can you confirm residence ownership for Bradford Lane address? A beat of static. Inside the communications center, Angela sees the request flash across her screen. She responds carefully. Confirmed, registered to Chief Rebecca Miller. Harper's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. Copy, he replies. Across the lawn, Mrs. Collins hurries forward, cardigan fluttering behind her. She lives here, Mrs. Collins insists. I've seen her riding that bike all summer. Mr. Taylor joins her, nodding firmly. That's Rebecca's daughter. Linda Anderson pivots sharply toward them. You must be mistaken, she says. She couldn't even state her own address correctly. She's 7, Mrs. Collins snaps. Linda's posture stiffens. I was protecting our community. Harper glances at his partner. The air has shifted. He kneels again in front of Mia. Mia, he says softly, who's your mom? Mia's voice trembles. Chief Miller. The officers exchange a look. A patrol car door shuts somewhere behind them, louder than it needs to be. Harper presses his radio again. Dispatch, confirm Chief Miller's immediate family. Angela doesn't hesitate this time. Chief Miller has one daughter, Mia Miller, age 7. Silence. The kind that hums beneath the surface of authority. Harper feels heat rise under his collar. Around him the visual is unmistakable. 3 marked police units, multiple officers, a perimeter forming. Around a child. Backup has already been logged in the system, the call categorized as suspicious activity with potential property damage. response times recorded, body cameras rolling, paperwork has momentum, incidents develop their own gravity. Linda lowers her phone slightly, sensing the change. "What?" she demands. "Why is everyone looking at me like that?" Harper stands slowly. "Ma'am," he says evenly, "can you explain exactly what you observed?" "I told you," she insists. "She was tampering with mailboxes." "With what?" "I don't know. A tool." Mrs. Collins points toward the ground. "That's a magnifying glass. From school." The broken lens lies beside Mia's fallen bicycle. Linda's voice sharpens. "She was kneeling near federal property. She didn't know her address. She was acting unstable." "She was scared," Mr. Taylor says. Harper studies Linda carefully now. "You stated on the call she may have damaged property." "She could have," Linda replies defensively. "I wasn't going to wait until something worse happened." Behind them, another officer mutters under his breath, barely audible over the radio chatter. "Jesus." Angela watches the patrol GPS icons cluster on her screen. She knows what that formation means. She knows what the incident report will look like if it proceeds unchanged. She makes a decision. Quietly, she sends a direct priority ping to the chief's secure line again. Still no response. Cut across town. In a glass-walled conference room overlooking downtown, Chief Rebecca Miller stands at the head of a long table. Charts glow on a projector screen behind her. "Community trust is built in moments," she says firmly to the gathered department heads. "Small interactions matter. How we respond defines who we are." Her phone lies face down beside her folder. On silent, back on Bradford Lane, the sunlight feels harsher now. Mia's crying has softened into hiccuping breaths. She looks up at Harper with wide, uncertain eyes. "Am I in trouble?" she asks. The question lands like weight. Harper exhales slowly. "No," he says. "You're not." Linda folds her arms. "So what? We just ignore suspicious behavior now?" Mrs. Collins steps closer to Mia, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. "You called 3 patrol cars on a child," she says quietly. Linda's composure begins to crack. "I did what anyone responsible would do," she insists, though her voice wavers. "I saw something that didn't belong." Didn't belong. Harper feels that phrase again. He looks down at the notepad in his hand. Mia Miller. He looks at the house at the end of the driveway. Chief Rebecca Miller. He radios once more, his tone different now. "Dispatch? Status of Chief Miller?" Angela's answer comes carefully. "In meeting, attempting contact." Linda notices the subtle shift in posture among the officers, the recalibration of authority. "What's going on?" she asks sharply. No one answers immediately. The wind stirs the trees overhead. Flashing lights reflect against white siding. Neighbors gather in small clusters, whispering. The scene has already formed. Witnesses, cameras, reports. Harper steps back slightly, scanning the street. And then, from the far end of Bradford Lane, a dark, unmarked sedan turns the corner. It moves with purpose. No lights, no siren. But every officer on the street recognizes the vehicle instantly. Linda follows their gaze. The sedan slows and pulls to the curb. The unmarked sedan comes to a slow, controlled stop along the curb. For a moment, no one moves. Then the driver's door opens. Chief Rebecca Miller steps out. She is still wearing the navy suit from her meeting downtown. Her badge hangs from her belt, catching a flash of red and blue light. Her expression is unreadable at first, professional, composed, trained. Then she sees her daughter. Mia is sitting on the pavement, small shoulders shaking. Her bicycle is tipped sideways. The magnifying glass lies shattered in the street beside her. Something in Rebecca's posture shifts. Not dramatically, not publicly, but enough. She walks forward with measured steps, officers instinctively parting to clear a path. No one speaks. Radios fall silent. Even Linda lowers her phone slightly. Rebecca kneels. "Mia," she says softly. Mia looks up, her face streaked with tears. "Mom, that's all it takes." Rebecca pulls her daughter into her arms, one hand cradling the back of her head, the other shielding her from the crowd. For 3 long seconds, she is not the chief of police. She is just a mother holding her frightened child. "What happened?" Rebecca asks quietly. "She thought I was bad," Mia whispers. "I was just looking at a rock." Rebecca closes her eyes briefly, then she stands. And when she does, the air changes. Her shoulders square, her voice steadies. Her gaze sharpens, not with rage, but with clarity. "Officer," she says calmly to Harper, "I want all body camera footage preserved immediately. Do not power down." "Yes, Chief," Harper replies, posture tightening. She turns slowly, taking in the scene. 3 patrol cars, a perimeter, neighbors gathered, a woman still holding her phone. Rebecca's eyes land on Linda Anderson. "You placed the call?" Rebecca asks evenly. Linda lifts her chin. "Yes, I did what any responsible resident would do." Rebecca nods once. "Then I'd like you to explain to me exactly what you observed." Linda clears her throat, suddenly aware of how many people are watching. She was tampering with the mailboxes, acting erratically. She didn't know her address. Rebecca's voice remains steady. "Tampering how?" "She had some kind of tool." Rebecca gestures toward the ground. "You mean the broken magnifying glass?" Linda hesitates. "I didn't know what it was at the time." "And the damage?" Rebecca asks. "She could have damaged property." "But did she?" Linda's jaw tightens. "That's not the point." Rebecca tilts her head slightly. "It is precisely the point." A radio crackles softly. Harper steps aside as his device vibrates. "An incoming secure line from dispatch," he answers quietly. Inside the communications center, Angela Ruiz speaks in a low voice. "Officer, for documentation purposes, I need to clarify, caller stated child was actively destroying property. That does not match environmental audio. No sounds of vandalism were present." Harper glances toward Rebecca. "Understood," Angela continues. "Caller also repeatedly emphasized race before confirming behavior." Harper's expression hardens. "Copy." He ends the call. Rebecca notices the subtle exchange. "Is there something I should be aware of?" she asks. Harper steps forward. "Chief, dispatch is confirming discrepancies between the caller's report and observed facts." Rebecca nods slowly. She looks back at Linda. "When you called 911, did you describe my daughter's race?" Linda shifts her weight. I described the individual. That wasn't my question." Silence stretches thin. "Yes," Linda says finally. "I did." "Why?" Linda's composure begins to fray. "Because it was relevant." "To what?" Rebecca asks, her tone still controlled. "To the situation." Rebecca's gaze does not waver. "Explain that." Linda opens her mouth, closes it, opens it again. Words that felt certain 10 minutes ago now scatter under scrutiny. "She didn't look like she belonged," Linda says at last. The sentence hangs in the air. Mrs. Collins gasps quietly. Mr. Taylor mutters something under his breath. Rebecca takes one slow step forward. "My daughter lives here," she says evenly. "She rides her bike on this street. She attends school in this district. She collects rocks because her teacher encouraged her curiosity." She bends briefly, picking up the small, silver-veined stone from the pavement. "This," she continues, holding it up, "is the destruction you reported." Linda's breathing grows shallow. "I was protecting the community." "From what?" Rebecca asks. Linda falters. "From potential threats." Rebecca gestures toward Mia, who is now standing beside Mrs. Collins, clutching the straps of her backpack. "A 7-year-old child with a magnifying glass." The officers shift uncomfortably. Rebecca turns to them. "Walk me through your response," she says. Harper speaks carefully. "We responded to a report of mailbox tampering and possible property damage. Caller indicated erratic behavior." "And what did you observe upon arrival?" "A child crying on the ground." "Any evidence of vandalism?" "No, Chief." "Any weapon?" "No." "Any attempt to flee?" "No." Rebecca nods once more, processing. "The escalation," she says quietly, "occurred before verification." No one argues. Linda looks around, searching for support. "Are we not allowed to report suspicious activity anymore?" Rebecca's gaze sharpens slightly. "You are allowed to report facts." Linda swallows. Rebecca steps closer, her voice still calm but carrying unmistakable authority. "When emergency services are summoned, resources mobilize, officers leave other calls, lights flash, weapons are accessible, a narrative forms before facts are verified." She pauses, scanning the street, the neighbors, the patrol cars, the broken glass. "My daughter was treated as a suspect before she was treated as a child." The words land heavily. Mrs. Collins squeezes Mia's shoulder. Rebecca turns slightly toward the officers again. "Has the 911 recording been flagged?" Harper nods. "Yes, Chief." "I want a full review, transcript included." Linda's face drains of color. "This is ridiculous," she says weakly. "You can't punish someone for being cautious." Rebecca's eyes lock onto hers. "No," she says quietly, "but we can hold someone accountable for making false or misleading statements to emergency services." Linda's breath catches. "And we can examine why a child's presence was interpreted as threat," Rebecca adds. Silence follows. Even the wind seems to hold still. Rebecca kneels briefly again to brush glass fragments away from Mia's knees. "We cannot protect a community," she says, rising to her full height, "by criminalizing its children." No one speaks. The officers stand straighter, but their discomfort is visible. They know how quickly they mobilized, how easily the system moved forward on the weight of a single phone call. Rebecca looks down the street, then back at the patrol cars. "This incident will be documented in full," she says. "There will be a formal review of the 911 call, response protocol, and reporting accuracy." Linda's voice trembles. "You're overreacting." Rebecca's expression remains steady. "No," she replies. "We are responding appropriately." She turns to Harper. "File this as a potential false report pending investigation." "Yes, Chief." Linda takes a step back as if the ground itself has shifted beneath her. Neighbors whisper more openly now. Mrs. Collins bends to Mia. "Sweetheart, I think your bike needs fixing." Mia nods faintly. Rebecca places a hand on her daughter's shoulder, then looks once more at the assembled officers. "This isn't just about one phone call," she says. "It's about how quickly assumptions become action." Her gaze moves deliberately from badge to badge. "There will be consequences," she continues, "for false reporting and for systemic failures that allow bias to escalate into force." The statement hangs in the air like a verdict not yet delivered. Across the street, curtains close slowly. Linda lowers her phone completely now. The flashing lights finally switch off, but the weight of what just happened remains. And as Rebecca guides Mia toward their house, the quiet of Scarsdale no longer feels untouched. It feels exposed. The paperwork moves faster than gossip. Within 48 hours of the incident on Bradford Lane, Linda Anderson receives formal notice. She is being cited for filing a false police report pending investigation review. The wording is precise, clinical. It does not accuse, it documents. But in a place like Scarsdale, documentation is louder than accusation. The Homeowners Association schedules an emergency meeting that same week. The email subject line reads, "Community Conduct and Public Safety Discussion." Everyone knows what it means. The meeting room fills quickly. Polished loafers, pressed blouses, quiet tension wrapped in polite smiles. Linda sits near the front, chin lifted, hands folded tightly in her lap. She insists she acted responsibly. That vigilance is not prejudice. That caution is not crime. Some nod along. Others avoid eye contact. When the vote is called regarding her continued leadership role on the association board, the result is decisive. She is removed, not unanimously. A small cluster votes in her favor. They argue that she was just being careful, that these days you can't be too cautious. Their support exposes something uncomfortable, an undercurrent that had always existed but had never been forced into daylight. Outside the meeting, whispers spread faster than official statements. Then the media calls. First local, then regional. Police chief's daughter surrounded after 911 call. The headline travels. Within days, an excerpt of the 911 audio is leaked online. The clip is short but sharp. "I don't think she belongs here. She appears to be African American." The recording spreads across social media feeds. Comment sections ignite. News vans park 2 streets away. Suddenly, Bradford Lane is no longer anonymous. Inside the police department, the mood shifts from discomfort to introspection. Body camera footage is reviewed. Dispatch logs are audited. Response timelines are analyzed frame by frame. Officers watch themselves stepping out of patrol cars, forming a perimeter around a crying child. They see how quickly they moved, how automatically they assumed escalation might be necessary. The room is silent during playback. No one likes what they see. Chief Rebecca Miller does not raise her voice in department meetings. She does not accuse. She does not shame. She presents facts. 3 units responded within 4 minutes, she says, standing before a projected timeline. No evidence of active vandalism was confirmed prior to perimeter formation. No one argues. She announces immediate policy revisions. Mandatory bias response training for all officers. Revised protocol for calls involving minors. Visual verification required before escalation unless immediate danger is observed. A new communications guideline requiring dispatchers to assess the relevance of racial descriptors in emergency calls. If race is not directly tied to suspect identification in an active crime, Rebecca says calmly, it does not escalate response priority. Some officers shift in their seats, others nod slowly. The changes are not framed as punishment. They are framed as correction. But correction implies something was wrong. That realization lingers. Meanwhile, Mia does not ride her bike. The bicycle remains in the garage, repaired but untouched. She avoids the front window when patrol cars pass, even when they aren't stopping. At night, she asks questions in a quiet voice. "Was I bad?" Rebecca kneels beside her bed. "No." "Why did they come?" Rebecca chooses her words carefully. "Because sometimes adults make mistakes, and sometimes systems move too fast." Mia absorbs that, but fear is not erased by explanation. One afternoon, there's a gentle knock at the door. Mrs. Collins stands on the porch holding a small, wrapped box. "For our neighborhood scientist," she says warmly when Mia answers. Inside the box is a new magnifying glass, larger, sturdier, the handle engraved with a tiny silver star. Mia runs her finger over it but doesn't smile yet. The next day, Mr. Taylor wheels the bike out of the garage. "Chain's been tightened," he says. "Tires pumped, ready when you are." Mia looks at the street. It looks the same, and not the same at all. Across town, Rebecca begins attending community listening sessions, not behind a podium, not in uniform, but seated in folding chairs among residents. She listens to concerns, to defensiveness, to apology, to anger. One mother says she never realized how quickly assumptions could escalate. One father insists the media exaggerated everything. Linda does not attend. Her house remains immaculate. her blinds drawn more often now. The citation proceeds through review. The Homeowners Association replaces her quietly. Invitations to block gatherings stop arriving. Isolation settles in slowly, not loud, but persistent. Weeks pass. The media cycle moves on, but something subtle has shifted on Bradford Lane. When children ride bikes now, neighbours look longer, but differently, not searching for threat, watching with awareness. One Saturday morning, sunlight spills across the pavement just like before. Mia stands at the edge of the driveway holding her helmet. Rebecca watches from the porch but does not hover. Mrs. Collins pretends to tend her roses. Mr. Taylor adjusts something unnecessary in his mailbox. Mia places the helmet on her head, tightens the strap. She walks the bike down the driveway. For a moment, she hesitates. Then she pushes off. The wheels roll forward, slow at first, then steadier. The street feels wide again, open. She pedals past the same row of mailboxes where everything changed. Her grip tightens slightly on the handlebars. And then she sees it, a flicker near the curb, small, reflective. Her heart beats faster. She circles back slowly, stops, gets off the bike. The neighborhood seems to hold its breath. Mia crouches. The stone isn't as bright as the first one. Not silver-veined, not dramatic, just smooth, grey, ordinary. She reaches into her backpack, pulls out the new magnifying glass. Her hand trembles slightly. She glances up. Mrs. Collins offers a small nod. Mr. Taylor gives a gentle thumbs up. Across the street, a different neighbour smiles softly. No phones raised, no doors slamming, no sirens. Mia lowers the lens over the stone. The world sharpens again. Tiny specks sparkle beneath the surface, details invisible without patience. She inhales, then picks it up. This time, no one questions her. No one approaches. No one assumes. She stands slowly, holding the stone in her palm. The sunlight catches it just right. For a brief second it glows, not because it is rare, not because it is valuable, but because it was chosen. Mia lifts it toward the sky, examining the way light bends across its surface. Behind her, the neighborhood remains quiet, but no longer untouched. It has been forced to look at itself, to adjust, to reconsider what danger looks like, what belonging means. Mia smiles faintly, and this time, when she gets back on her bike, she doesn't hesitate.